Shalom. It's your brother, the Great Millstone, Charlotte. Come with another, live exhortation to the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. First and foremost, we want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
And just a quick lesson, burning some early morning oil, man. Going to just keep pushing, right? What's the alternative? We understand through this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that nothing can compare to what you'll gain in this ministry, man. And we just have to continue to endure the hardships as a result of being separated from the likes of this world, man. But we understand also the reward, that brothers are going to receive on the back end is greater than anything that we could imagine to achieve on this side, man. Right? So it's our duty, to keep fighting, man, to keep pushing, to keep pressing towards the mark, you know, because there's really nothing else out here, you know. You can go ahead.
You got a recording or is it live?
It's live.
Okay, Kyle. This is Luke chapter 9 and verse 62. It says, "And Yahweh said unto him, No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High."
Right. So once you've started, right, you got to finish the work, man. You can't go halfway, right? You don't get brownie points or a participation trophy for starting a race, right? So you got to continue. You got to finish the race. You got to cross the finish line, man. And we're coming into a time where we gotta sprint towards the finish because we see that end, right? We're on that last turn, and you see in that line, man. So you gotta give it your all, man.
Got a quick precept.
Okay.
As you mentioned, pretty much, you said basically consider the cost, because you're not going to get a reward, a righteous reward for just participating. You can't just, say, hey, you prophesied for this amount of time and then fell out, for the majority. This is Proverbs chapter 24, verse 27. It says, "Prepare thy work without and make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterwards build thine house." You see, so you got to consider the cost daily. You got to prepare. I'm going to the word prepare. It's a lot. And this word prepare goes into, should be kawan, which means to direct. It says kawan, it says to be firm, be established, be direct. It's like be established, be fixed, be firmly established. To be fixed, be securely determined. When what truly sets your mind right. What truly gets you prepared. Scriptures say, prepare. It's a lot. It's pretty much a scripture that goes into, meditate continually in the scriptures. Because you get Bon Sirach 6:37, and then also Psalms 1 and 1 to 2. Because pretty much, meditating in the Word is what keeps you established, and praying to the Lord, to keep you in the truth, Because again, you don't get any like you said, brownie points for just just being there, and just falling back into the world,
Right. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 37. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments.
And pretty much by meditating, when you want to meditate, it means to think on, to remember, to recall, to make mention of.
Okay. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire.
So in doing so, the Lord will establish us by meditating in His Word daily. Because that's the way you become rooted. Because we gonna need every bit of deliverance. In these times of trouble. And what truly keeps you rooted and fixed on the truth is pretty much praying to the Lord rehearsing the righteous acts. You know,
Hmm.
continually, like you said in the beginning of the video, you said something about some oil. You know, pretty much making sure that you got enough oil. You know, using your oil wisely.
Okay. What's the other one?
Um, that's cool.
Okay.
You can drop it.
Okay.
But pretty much the point, you just want to consider the cost and do the things that you need to do in order to, to make it.
Right. Hey, you gotta understand, you know, what's required. The sacrifices that's required. Right. You know, the lust of the flesh that you're gonna have to forego, man. Right. That's part of this walk. You becoming that new creature means that whatever you were in the past, has to be done away with, man. You have to become a servant to Yahweh Shem Shai, and in that servitude, you really don't have time, for the cares of this life, man. We do everything in balance, of course, right? Because we have things that we have to continue on, while society is still up. We have responsibilities, but we can't be too attached to this world um, to when it's time to separate. We can't let go of these things, man. Could you get First Corinthians 9 and start in 23, and we'll just read on down.
Give me a second. This is First Corinthians chapter 9. He said 23.
Start in 24. Start in 24.
You said 24.
Okay.
Okay. This is First Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain."
Now, this is a race that we're running, man. It's long distance. So it's about endurance at the end of the day, right? So we all continue to run this race, right? Keep pushing, right? And when you run the race, you don't think about what happened behind you. You don't think about thinking about like cross country, right? You run, and then whatever's going on behind you ain't got nothing to do with you, man. It could be people tripping and falling down. Somebody could have got pushed off the road, but that's none of your concern, man. You got to focus on the race at hand. You can't have your mind thinking about what's going on behind you. Just like Lot, man, right? Lot, was told to keep walking, keep pushing forward, and don't look back. Because why? He knew that whatever was behind him was already gone. Through the spirit, we understand that everything that's behind us is already gone, man. That's why we're not seeking to hold on to any of these attachments out here, man. And that's why we understand that we don't have nothing. You don't got nothing to really go back to once you come into this truth, man. Right? You got everything to look forward to, but you ain't got nothing to go back to. Because if you go back into the world, you're gonna be worse off than you were before you knew this truth, man.
I got a precept.
Okay, go ahead.
Pretty much this walk is like into a race. This is Matthew chapter 6 and verse 21. I'm sorry, verse 20. It says, "But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Verse
Hmm.
22. "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." You see, so in a race, you don't focus on the people that's or what's around you. You stay in your lane. You focus. Keeping your eye single goes back to keeping it whole, and keeping your eye on the goal. Having a tunnel vision, so to speak. That's why if you look at like you like to bring out like when you have like the horses, they be having like the blinders on.
Hmm.
Which you do that in order to stay focused. You know,
Exactly.
because then if you start getting too attached, you'll start to actually go that way. That's why they say when you driving, focus on the road. Because you start looking away, you actually your eyes is gonna go to where what it's looking at. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Just real quick, I got this pulled this word for run in the Strong's G, and it reads G5143. Um, Jumping down, it says this word occurs in Greek writings, denoting to incur extreme peril, which it requires the exertion of all one's effort to overcome. Right. So we gotta give all our effort, all our diligence, into overcoming what, man? Overcoming this world, overcoming what you see happening in Babylon the Great, man. You know, to to ultimately receive that salvation, right? That's what we're fighting for. That's what we're running for. That's what this race is all about. It's to be able to endure until the end, right? I'm gonna go back to that First Corinthians. This is or you can get it from me out.
Huh?
So can you get back to that First Corinthians, Baba Shah?
Okay. This is First Corinthians chapter 9, verse 25 says, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain the corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible."
hmm So we know that what we're fighting for is incorruptible. We know that what we're fighting for is you know immortal, eternal, right? With anything that you can get out here is temporal, man, right? Any of these worldly lusts, anything out here that's of this world, basically, right? It's something that is ultimately going to be destroyed, man. That's why we fight. Was that we strive for the masteries, but we're striving for an immortal crown, man. Now it says, it's tempered in all things, so we're balanced in that thing. That doesn't mean you can't go out here and better yourself, and become the best version of yourself, right? But it's just with the understanding that the ways of this world, anything that you gain on this side is gonna be temporal, man, which is going to be a temporary, right? That's why our main focus is in this truth, right? We keep pushing, regarding this ministry because we know that, an eternal immortality is to come as a result.
Okay, keep going in there.
Okay, we'll finna read 26.
Wait for my phone a little.
Okay.
This is First Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 26. It says, "I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air."
Now, in the NLT, it reads, "So I run with purpose in every step. I'm not just shadow boxing," right? So we're running with purpose, right? We're exerting ourselves purposefully, right? Not just towards something that has no real value, right? We're running towards the most valuable thing. We're exerting ourselves in the most valuable thing known to man. You know, we want to have that kingship, man. We want to have that dominion. That what's the word? So like it's slipping my mind, but we want to be those joint rulers with Yahweh Shai, man. Right? This is what we're running towards. This is what we're giving all our effort towards. This is why you see brothers moving, in a more diligent fashion than ever. Because we can see the finish line, and we want to run through the tape. You don't just run to it; you run through it, man. You know.
Could you get Bon Sirach 19 and 30? And it's also a precept that goes like, it says, pretty much anything you do, do it like with 100%. Because going back to that precept, I'm running back. It says, this is First Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 26. It says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. So the elect is going to walk this walk uncertainly. They're going to have a full heart of faith and confidence. It says, so fight I, not as one that beat the air. So pretty much, doing it with 100%. Doing it, walking with a purpose. They got a term in the military that, they say, move with a purpose. It's not like you just um move with no intention, which more so takes place, in the truth, because brothers are moving with a purpose, with intention, and not just doing it just to do it, not just going through the motions.
That's right. This is Sirach chapter 19 and verse 26. You said
Verse 30.
30 times. 19 and verse 30. A man's attire and excessive laughter and gait show what he is.
So the elect is just many versions of Yahweh Shah. You see, so Yahweh Shah was a very austere man, so being that the elect is taking on Yahweh Shah's example, pretty much, that they're moving with intention, you see, because if the Lord was walking amongst the earth, he would moving with intention, being stern and austere.
Okay. Okay. Could you grab Ephesians 4 and 22?
Con, did you find the that one precept or not?
How'd it go again?
It's cool. We just drop it.
Okay.
That's pretty much the point. This is Ephesians. This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22. It says, "They ye put off concerning the former conversation of the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust."
Okay, you can read that in 24.
Con, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness.
So that's what we're seeking to do, man. Put off the former things, right? Put off the former lust, right? Forget about the past, right? You're not that person anymore, right? And as you continue to grow in the truth, right? You continue to separate yourself from what you used to be, right? You want to be better than you were yesterday, today. Each day becoming new, right? And as we, go into these times of trouble, right? We understanding, that the things that we give up, we're gonna be rewarded for many times over, when the kingdom comes, man. So we're not really losing anything, right? There's no loss, in Yahweh Shai, right? It might seem as such, to the flesh, right? But when you really think about in a spiritual context, right? You have no loss, man, right? You keep pushing forward, and whatever you lose is already ahead of you, man, right? Whether that be friends, family, possessions, right? You're gonna have many times over that, once you finish this race, man. But
Con,
the point is to finish the race.
can I get that for you?
Come on, you go ahead.
This is Matthew, also Matthew chapter 19 and verse 27. It says, it says, Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every man that hath forsaken houses and brethren, and sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands for my name's sake, shall receive an hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
Amen. We gotta forsake this world, man. Forsake these things. You know, be ready to let stuff go, right? If it's getting in the way of the ministry, then you gotta cut it off, right? If it if it helps you, to maintain balance, of course you can continue in it. But at the end of the day, when that time comes, we're gonna have to cut everything off, man. And we have to have the what's the word? The spiritual and mental fortitude for when
Mm-hmm.
those times come, man. To be able to, endure that hardness, right? Because we're gonna be separated from society. And it's that's something most brothers have never experienced. So when that happens, we have to pray for the Lord for the strength, pray to the Lord for the strength, to be overcome these things, man. Because that's what we were given this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to do, is to overcome this world, man.
Con.
Um,
Go back to that Ephesians.
that was pretty much it on that.
Okay.
We can grab Philippians 3 and start in 8.
This is Philippians chapter 3. I'm sorry, verse 7. It says,
Okay.
"But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach.
Mm-hmm.
Yet doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Hamashiach Yahushua, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Hamashiach."
Mm-hmm. Right. So we count this life done, man. Count these possessions done. Right. We understand, as it says in Second Peter 3rd chapter, man, that this place is gonna be, burnt to a crisp, man. Right. So you gotta be prepared to lose everything, man. Right. And really it's already gone. Just like the victory is already sealed, these things are already gone. Right. As you keep walking, you just forget about what's behind you, man, because it's gone already. Just imagine this, turn to ashes, man. Right. So that's why you can keep walking with a surety, because you know that whatever you have is ahead of you, man. You know.
Kind of at the same time, like you say one wants to be attached to, the worldly possessions, the earthly things, they will make themselves a liability, and it's
Hmm.
true, if you got to be an asset,
Kind, kind. Yeah. And look, the Lord needs assets, not liabilities, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know. That's why you see, the spirit, it has brothers ramping up in the spirit, man, because every
Mm-hmm.
brother, has to prove themselves to be an asset to the ministry, man, to be an asset to Yahweh Shem Shai.
Put on a
You
verse
can
9.
jump down, to 13 and just read 13 and 14.
Con. This is Philippians chapter 3 and verse 13. It says, "Brethren, I count not myself to be to Salah. Brethren, I count not myself have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before.
Hmm.
I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in Hamashiach Yahushua."
Right. And so he said, forgetting those things which are behind and pressing towards that mark, man. Right. Forgetting what's behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before, man. What's before us, man? Salvation, the kingdom, dominion, you know, those crowns, right? That joint rulership, those new bodies, man, right? Never being able to go off again, man, through that second covenant, right? All these things, right? And eternal rest, right? All these things is what's before us, man. So we forget about what's behind you, right? Forget about the past, forget about those who don't believe, right? All that's going to be sorted out in the kingdom, man, right? You'll get your friends and family back, in the kingdom. You'll get all, greater possessions in the kingdom, man. You'll have greater glory than any glory you can find on this side in the kingdom, right? So you forget about, those things that are now, and you reach forward to the things which are before, man.
Con, that's why the scriptures say to keep your eyes single to focus, because if not, you'll be sucked into the the affairs of the world.
Hmm. And it's easy, we're in the flesh, man. So, this world is always grabbing at you, trying to pull you back in, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But it's about, if you fall, if you're susceptible to that, you learn from it. You learn from it, and then when that opportunity comes up, you overcome it, man. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's why you gotta have that that spiritual Philly shell.
Right. Right.
This
You
is
gotta, gotta
this is
go ahead.
Ephesians, huh?
No, I'll say just go ahead. Go ahead.
This is Ephesians chapter 6, and so I'm gonna start. Well, I'm gonna get the point. It says, "It's Ephesians 6:11." It says, "Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." Now, going back to Matthew chapter 6, this devil uses a lot of deception, his propaganda, his entertainment industry. Going into I think it's Matthew 6:23. Where it talks about the darkness. Because what this devil pushes out is darkness, which we're in a spiritual war. So everything is pulling at you. So you got to have, um, you know, your spiritual Philly shell on. So to
Mhm.
speak. More specifically, the whole armor of the Most High.
Uh, uh, um, can you get? I think it's in Second Ezra 7. Let me check.
Well, what you looking for?
I'm trying to remember how it's worded. 7:16.
This is Second Ezra chapter 7, verse 16. It reads, so Second Ezra 7:16. It says, "Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present?"
hmm and that's the whole thing, man. Right? We're our mind is set on the thing which is to come. Right? Our mind is set on to keep pushing, you know, toward what's to come. Rather than focusing on what's present, man. Rather than trying to make ourselves these great men in Babylon the Great. We want to be great men in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? We want to be great men in the kingdom. We want to have legacy, that goes through eternity, man. We don't want to build a legacy over here, where it's corruptible, where it's destined to be destroyed. We want to have a established eternal legacy, man. And that's why, we understand there's no alternative to this truth, man, right? There's nothing that compares. As the scriptures say, none shall want her mate, right? There's nothing you can do out here that's gonna provide you, with the opportunity that this truth is gonna provide you, man. And if you leave out of that, then you know you're gonna be for the worse off, man. And I'm sure those who have left, left teaching, see that they're in a worse position than they were when they came in,
Mm-hmm.
because they forsook, the most valuable thing in this in this world, man, which is this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's gonna bring to a kingdom.
Okay. Keep going.
That was it. That was on that.
Okay.
You got anything else?
All right, that was pretty much it.
Uh, can you read that? What was it? Philippians 3:14 again. Baba Kashah. No, we'll just close with that.
This is Philippians chapter 3 and verse 14. It says, "I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in Hamashiach Yahushua."
hmm Now you go into that word press. It goes into the Strong's G 1377, and it says to make or run, to put to flight, to drive away, to run swiftly in order to catch a person or thing to run after, right? So we're running after this thing, right? We're hastening the day, of
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh Shai's coming, right? It says to press on figuratively of one who in a race runs swiftly to reach the goal. So brothers is running, man. Exerting
Mm-hmm.
all our energy, you know, to whatever capacity brothers have, man, right? Because every brother has been blessed with different spirit, but brothers is exerting themselves to their full abilities, man.
Mm-hmm.
It says that's pretty much it. Or it says to seek after eagerly, earnestly endeavor to acquire. right? So we want to acquire what, man? Eternal righteousness, man, salvation, right? All the things that we've repeated, over and over again, man. We want to, what was it? We want to acquire the kingdom, right? But it requires us to press, to apply pressure and continually, exert ourselves, man, right, in the correct direction, because we've been given the right way. We got to keep going down that path. We don't follow down the wicked path, man.
I got one more.
God, but
This is Ecclesiastes, also Quahalath chapter 9. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 10. It says, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do with all thy might, or do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest." So whatever you are able to do, chiefly starting with this truth, do it with all your strength. Do it with the purpose, do it with intention. Don't just do it, just to do it, because you're only deceiving yourself. And yeah, you're pretty much just deceiving yourself.
God, gosh, hey, you know, that's it, man. That's through the spirit. Probably how about you, Shai? We pray that listen was edifying, right? Just keep fighting, man. Keep pushing, right? There's no alternative, man. There's no turning back, right? You got to be in the mindset that there's nothing behind you, man. All you have is forward, man. You know, right? And continue to grow, continue to push, continue to pray. That you may be counted worthy in these times to come. To avoid all these troubles, man. Right? And so again, we pray that lesson was edifying through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We want to close by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
And Kwame Yasharala and the Bible Ball, man.
Bible Ball.
Shalom.